People often describe Oliver Stone's Alexander as a film that was ahead of its time. Of course, this is mostly said to mock its box office failure and the harsh criticism it faced. Today, Jared Leto's bare butt wouldn't amuse anyone, especially not critics. However, back then, it wasn't as common to praise certain moments in a film while overlooking others. This explains why Oliver Stone spent over 10 years knocking on Hollywood's doors. Studio executives would immediately reject him after seeing a few bold plot twists in his script. Finally, in 2004, the stars aligned, and Oliver secured the funding for his dream project. Today, let's talk about the making of Alexander, one of the biggest box office failures of 2004. Oliver Stone first conceived Alexander in 1991, shortly after completing The Doors, starring the increasingly popular Val Kilmer. Although Kilmer was notorious for starting fights and disrupting filming, Stone managed to get along with him and believed Kilmer was the perfect choice to play the legendary commander. However, every Hollywood studio turned them down. At the time, investing in large-scale historical projects was deemed too risky in Hollywood. Furthermore, Stone's script included one particular detail that deeply concerned producers. Stone's next attempt to develop Alexander came in the mid-1990s after releasing Nixon. Around the same time, Braveheart was winning 5 Academy Awards. Despite its success, Braveheart faced box office challenges, and producing an ancient epic on a similar budget seemed impossible. After yet another round of rejection, Stone turned to smaller projects, including the thriller U-Turn, which earned him a Golden Raspberry nomination. And he actually managed to get one. Everything changed in 2000 when Ridley Scott's Gladiator became a massive success. Almost every Hollywood producer wanted to replicate its formula, which reignited Stone's long-held dream. This time he secured $140 million in funding, though the process wasn't easy. Many studios wanted to work with Stone, but they required changes to the script, specifically reducing depictions of Alexander's bisexuality. Stone refused to compromise and raised funds globally, with European studios covering most of the budget. Warner Brothers contributed 35% and acquired US distribution rights. The large sum of money did not save the film from production problems. Almost all the actors Oliver Stone wanted to see in the film refused the lead roles, giving various excuses. Since Val Kilmer was already a bit too old and had lost some of his popularity, Stone wanted to cast someone like him for the lead role, but not him. The role was offered to Heath Ledger. The actor showed interest and even met with the director, but eventually turned it down. As a last resort, Stone even offered the lead role to 40-year-old Tom Cruise, but he too immediately declined after reading the script. The role eventually went to Irishman Colin Farrell, whose career was taking off at the time. Farrell's casting sparked a lot of criticism, mainly due to his Irish heritage. The director strongly defended his choice. He assured that the actor's accent would not be an issue because he planned to cast at least 20 more Irish actors in the film, making Farrell's accent less noticeable. The director wasn't lying. He tried to cast Irish actor Liam Neeson as Philip, but he couldn't participate due to health reasons. After that, Stone approached Val Kilmer, who gladly accepted the role. The role of Ptolemy was offered to the Scottish actor Sean Connery, but he chose to end his career instead. Later, Val Kilmer and other actors admitted that they also tried to copy Farrell's Irish accent to make their characters sound more like Greeks. Brad Pitt turned down the role of Hey-Face Stun. Stone tried to persuade him, saying he would expand the role for him, but that did not convince the actor. According to the official version, Pitt simply wasn't interested in the role. The unofficial version suggests that Pitt refused because of the already mentioned detail, which he insisted be removed from the film. Jared Leto, on the contrary, accepted the challenge and agreed to chase after Alexander as soon as he read the script. However, just before filming started, another issue arose. Initially, Stone offered the role of Olympias to Monica Bellucci, and she agreed to take it. However, after talking to Colin Farrell, she decided to back out. The actress confessed that she and Colin Farrell could not get along, and both felt very constrained on set. Stone quickly turned to Catherine Zeta-Jones, who was open to starring in Alexander, but she was already committed to contracts for The Terminal and the Ocean's 11 sequel. The director couldn't afford to delay the film's production for so long just because of one actress. Jones then suggested that Stone consider Angelina Jolie for the role. Jolie readily agreed, and Stone immediately signed a contract with her. Due to the tight deadlines, the director didn't have much choice. As a result, Alexander's mother was played by an actress who was a year younger than the actor who played her son. The filming process was difficult. The director had to abandon many of the planned filming locations, which increased the budget by $15 million. Initially, the filmmakers intended to shoot the film in India, but after several rehearsals, it became clear that the local elephants were too unpredictable, and the battle scene could turn into a real fight with enraged animals. The film crew quickly relocated to Thailand, where the elephants were easier to work with. Oliver Stone was thrilled with the Thai elephants. He admitted that he was most concerned about filming the battle scene with them because such massive animals could injure someone. However, filming with horses turned out to be far more dangerous because they were more difficult to control than Thai elephants. The elephants were very gentle and took care not to harm people. According to the director, if given the opportunity, he would definitely buy himself a couple of such magnificent animals. Unfortunately, after the battle scene with the elephants was finished, heavy rains damaged some of the footage. This is why the scene seems crumpled in the theatrical version and has many filters that were used to hide flaws. For the director's cuts of the film, some of the footage was restored, making the battle scene look more cohesive. Filming nearly came to a halt when Colin Farrell broke his leg while simply going down the stairs. Because of that, Stone had to rewrite the script, including more sitting scenes for the legendary commander. The film didn't do well in test screenings, but because most of the film's budget was provided by independent investors, Oliver Stone was not forced to cut the running time, as is common. The theatrical version of Alexander was almost 3 hours long, which many believe was one of the reasons for its massive failure. Despite its $155 million budget, Alexander grossed only $34 million in the United States. Worldwide distribution brought investors another $133 million. But the losses were still colossal. Many blame Warner Brothers for the film's underperformance in the US. Following unsuccessful test screenings, the studio gave up on the film and cut its advertising budget in the US to a minimum. As a result, the $150 million blockbuster had the advertising budget of a $15 million romantic comedy. Yet most analysts agree that the film's downfall stemmed from Oliver Stone's failure to create an epic film. The story didn't highlight the commander's heroism. For example, General Maximus from Gladiator was a heroic character, whereas Oliver Stone's Alexander was simply Colin Farrell in a funny wig. Another reason why many people criticize Alexander is the large number of historical inaccuracies. Stone acknowledges all of the inaccuracies, explaining that some of them were added to make the plot fit within 3 hours, while others were typical examples of artistic license, which is inevitable in any film. With this approach, Alexander could have had a much smaller budget. They could have removed one of the battles from the script or not cast Angelina Jolie, who despite her great performance added $5 million to the budget. The failure of Alexander sank Baz Luhrmann's planned epic Alexander the Great, which was supposed to star Leonardo DiCaprio and Nicole Kidman. According to Luhrmann, releasing another Alexander film after such a disastrous failure would be a career-ending move. However, in the end, Alexander's earnings were not too bad. Warner Brothers, having cut back on marketing, was likely pleased with the results. Alexander is one of the few films well known for its high home video sales. The director's cut, which is a few minutes longer than the theatrical version, sold 4 million copies in the United States. This version alone earned the studio over $60 million in net profit. This is comparable to the sales of films like Die Hard 4 and The Simpsons movie, which grossed $400 million and $500 million respectively at the box office. The box office revenue for Alexander was only $167 million. As a result, Warner Brothers decided to release 2 additional versions on DVD and Blu-ray called Final Cut and Ultimate Cut. The latter version sold 1 million copies in the US market alone. While this result may not be as remarkable, the film still brought Warner over $100 million in revenue from media sales alone. If Warner Brothers really spent next to nothing on marketing Alexander and invested a little over $50 million in the film, they certainly have reason to celebrate. Alexander was a profitable project for the studio. The film was completely overlooked by the Oscars and Golden Globes, but did receive some attention from the Golden Raspberry Awards. Alexander received 6 nominations, including for Worst Picture, Worst Director, and Worst Actor. Thanks for watching, subscribe and stay tuned.